Peel is the second largest school board in Canada. So we have about 150,000 students and we have 15,000 staff. So it's quite significant. And even geographically, it's very dispersed. So we support Caledon, Brampton, and Mississauga. So you can imagine the you can imagine just trying to be able to support all of these schools. There's 234 schools, 202 of which are elementary, and the remaining are secondary schools. So we have recently embarked upon a very large BYOD program. It was really the vision for it started with how do we support 21st century learning within Peel. We realized that we needed a very, very strong infrastructure to be able to support that. So the board of directors approved a $7 million transfer fund to support ubiquitous wireless in all of our schools. And that really started taking place this year. So we started earlier this year rolling out wireless access points. And we're talking, you know, as I said, 234 schools. We're looking at over 7,000 access points getting deployed. And you can appreciate the fact that these are heavy users. You know, if you want to see somebody use the internet, just look at a high school student. So you can imagine at 8:30 or 9 a.m. when they come into the classroom and they bring up all of their devices, because it's not just one. You know, we're looking at 2.5 devices per student in high school, and they access media-rich environment. They go to YouTube. So you can imagine 100,000 devices coming up all at once on our network and starting to consume digital content. So to say it's a technical challenge would be really, to put it mildly, the plumbing that needs to go in place, both, you know, at the schools, so wireless access points, as well as the back end to support that was not an easy challenge. We have upgraded our internet to 10 gigs, so we are now 10 gigabit to the internet. We have gigabit to every single one of our schools, and we have aggregate sites, POP sites, that are also 10 gigabit. So really, we are a super highway to the internet, and that's required. So when it comes to 21st century learning and what does this mean to my, at the end of the day, what does this mean to my child? It really is making sure that they have access to all the information that's out there. So our mandate, my mandate, was ubiquitous wireless access across all of our schools, regardless of the location, and that includes gymnasiums as well as portables. You know, it's everywhere, and it has to always work. And we ensured that by doing, you know, 3-device triangulation. So no matter where you are in our schools, you should be able to see 3 access points, just to make sure that there's, you know, should we have a hardware outage, you know, there'll be no impact to instruction in our schools. BYOD is really bring your own device, and we expect students to bring whatever device, and teachers for that matter, because the BYOD program is for students, but it's also for teachers. And we expect, and we are seeing, a very diverse portfolio. We're seeing Android products, we're seeing, you know, obviously Apple, a lot of Apple devices, you know, even from, you know, your iPods now have Wi-Fi. We're seeing tablets, we're seeing slates, we're seeing hybrids, we're seeing old notebooks, we're seeing everything as expected, and we have to be able to handle all that. Now, one of the things that we're doing that I think is really important, and everyone needs to consider this, is 802.1x authentication. So from a security standpoint, obviously you need to know who your users are. So we're making sure that all of our users are identified, but we're using certificates. So once you actually sign on once, you accept that certificate on that device, you'll never have to log on to our network again. It just knows who you are. And I think that's key, because if this is something that people have to work towards, if they have to keep logging in, logging out, we really want to make it sort of seamless. We just want it to be there without requiring a lot of work. So for us, 802.1x was key, but it's key on both sides of the equation. It's key on the wireless side. So when you bring in your own device, you get authenticated. But what is really, really key is that you don't take that device and plug it into your network, the Peel network in our case, and circumvent any security or any policies. So this 802.1x authentication has to be on the wired and the wireless side. Absolutely.